Yo, if anybody's watching, we're gonna start real soon. Okay, we just figuring shit out real quick, but we're gonna start real soon. Thank you for tuning in.
Welcome to the Black Anime Podcast.
You see me dead, do you? Well then. Go on.
She all about that ass. That's slice of life.
I love Naruto. I grew up on Naruto. So it'll be clear for me. I just always compared anime to Naruto.
You are now tuned into the Black Anime Podcast.
Not the same.
Bro, that nigga was strong. He just got caught up by that.
Emma is Naruto.
Not the same, bro. Not even close.
I'm afraid he couldn't even kill him.
You are now tuned in to the Black Anime Podcast.
This is the end of the road. Afro Samurai.
What's good, everybody? Welcome y'all to another episode of the Black Anime Podcast, and this episode is what we like to call "Where Do I Start?" And before I explain where do I start, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. You got me, you already know, your main man, Aran, aka the Lost Homie, aka the Anime Anthology. I watch an anime every day, all day. Every day, yeah, all day, every day. And we got my man's here who happy to have him on the pod before. Happy to have him again, especially on this topic. This is the connoisseur. This is the genius. This is the don't be humble. Don't be humble. This is the man to go to when you need to learn about mechas. This is the man. This is the man right here. All right, go ahead and introduce yourself, my dog. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Name is Ash. Full name Ash Beard Guy, aka Ashton Zala, aka Ash Bogard, aka So Bad Guy, aka whatever you want me to be. And I'm here to talk about giant shooty robots.
Yes, we are. That's exactly what we're here to talk about. Before we get started, I'm just gonna make sure. Yes, we are. Just make sure. Okay, all right. So we good. Make sure because I got a little notification saying the audio wasn't going through, but we good now. The audio's coming through. So as my man said, we're here to talk about big shooty robots. If you saw the title, we're here to talk about big shooty robots. And so what that means is. And where do I start? If you listen to our last one we did was like almost a year ago. We did it on Fate Zero, which we're gonna go back to. I've been holding off Fate, but we're gonna go back to that because there's so much more Fate to talk about. And so for this one, we're going over Mobile Suit Gundam. Now, if you've never heard of Mobile Suit Gundam, I don't know what rock you've been under, but I'm gonna need you to get out from under it. Mobile Suit Gundam has been around longer than most of us have been alive. I'm gonna just be honest right now. I mean, started out 1979, still going strong with spinoff after spinoff. And so, where do I start? What we do is we talk about long, sprawling series that have a lot of spinoffs and they have a lot of, or at least a lot of continuations, and they basically stood the test of time from day one when they were enacted. So, talking about that, like I said, the last one we talked about was Fate. To do a Mobile Suit Gundam today, you know, there's oh my gosh, I'm forgetting names of anime right now. Monogatari, there's a few other ones. But today we're talking about Mobile Suit Gundam. So also we want to help people have a definitive or have an idea of where they should start within the series because like I said, there's a lot of... You could start Mobile Suit Gundam. You could watch a lot of Gundams and not really be watching Gundam. And so... which actually, I said that last week. Before we were trying to go last week, and I said before, there's a few Gundams that, I mean, after me going back and actually watching it, I feel as though, like, we call them Gundams, but I'm like, they're not really Gundams. I'll explain. But besides that, I feel like, I mean, let's just get into the topic. So first things first, let's talk about how you feel about Gundam. I'm gonna let you go first because you probably got more opinions on it than I do. Seeing as, like I said, you the connoisseur. I mean, look at this man rubbing his glasses. He's about to push him back and all that. He about to get in on this. All right, let's go. Go ahead, Ash. Tell us what you got to say.
So first of all, I'll just talk about my introduction to the Gundam franchise. So first of all, I started watching Gundam as a lot of Western mecha anime fans did with the English dub of Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, aka the Bishonen Giant Shooty Robot Boys Club, which first started airing obviously on Toonami for me in the early 2000s. I believe it was 2001. So I first watched that. I mean, Toonami was a whole ass network in the UK, but that's a different discussion for a different day. We'll come on to that another time. So I watched that. I also watched bits and pieces of Gundam Seed. Also, I watched Gundam 00 when it aired over in the West. It aired on the Sci-Fi Network, I believe. So that was my introduction to Gundam. Then I didn't say I fell out of love with it. And then I got back into it like big time in 2018 with a little series called Gundam Build Fighters, which is basically Battle Shonen. Was wildly successful. I mean, it was so wildly successful that the individual who I believe directed Build Fighters is working on My Hero Academia. So
wow.
Yeah.
Which
and obviously, which is also wildly successful. So you know,
so he's been doing a good job.
There. He
did a good job. What you're
so
saying.
That's what got me back into Gundam. So in terms of starting with Gundam, I mean, should we go into the timelines first and like clearly define what the different timelines and alternate continuities are? Because obviously, purely we're going to be talking about stuff from the Universal.
Yeah. So yeah.
we should probably drop science on. Well, not drop science, but we should probably make them aware of the fact that there are obviously alternate continuities.
Before we get into that, I'm gonna talk a little bit about how kind of I started watching Gundam. Well, I'm gonna say this: I'm a baby when it comes to Gundam. I didn't watch it when I was growing up, and I honestly a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. I felt peer pressure a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people they do not like mech anime. They don't like mecha. They don't like none of that, right? And for real, you remember the last time you was on the pod, I told you to give me some stuff to watch. And you gave it to me, and I watched it. And I mean, the most famous mechas that people usually watch is Code Geass and Neon Genesis. And those are probably the two biggest ones. I mean, Iron Blooded Orphans is like, it's a close but far third. Well, actually, no, we got Gurren Lagann. But it's far few between on which like mechas that people actually talk about. So, like, I enjoyed all those. I haven't watched Neon Genesis yet. I just haven't been interested enough to watch it yet. But I've always wanted to get into Gundam because I watched IBO, Iron Blooded Orphans, and I was like, I want to know if this actually fits into the actual world that is Gundam. So, I told myself last month, I'm like, all right, yeah, fuck, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to watch Gundam. I'm going to reach out to Ash. We're going to do this episode because I'm ready to talk about Gundam. So I just started watching it last. We'll get into the continuities, and I didn't understand it, so I was googling it and trying to figure out what is the order to watch Gundam in, right? Because in all honesty, from what I've watched so far with Gundam, you can watch IBO and it doesn't spoil anything. That don't spoil a damn thing. That's what gets into my point in saying that some things I feel like for a lot of these Gundam series. Even though Gundam IBO holds the same themes and values for the most part that the mainline Gundam series has, it feels like it's like a few of these Gundams are just Gundam in name only. Like it's just mecha, but we also gonna call it Gundam. Am I wrong in saying that? Because that's how I feel. Because after watching IBO, I'm like, you could have called
thematic.
Could call this a lot of things.
I mean, thematically, I guess you're correct. Aesthetically. Obviously, there are common elements that tie all of these giant iron machines, war machines of death together. The most common of them, obviously, being the V-fin.
Yeah.
That lies atop of every single Gundam. So yeah, I mean, technically, I guess you are correct. Obviously, they are all called Gundam, and they all belong to one particular long-running franchise. So they are all Gundam. Whether it be in name only or not. So yeah.
But yeah, so I agree on that. I'm just saying. I feel like they could have been named something else and it still would have made sense. But I'm glad, for the most part, I'm glad it's named Gundam because it kind of brings you into the series and kind of, if you watch IBO, then your expectations for the rest of the Gundam series is kind of set. So, talking about watch order, since you don't think so? I think IBO set me up for like Origins and the original and even 08.
I think with a lot of the alternate universes or alternate continuities of Gundam, I think IBO is the most wildly different of them. I think a lot of them share themes that are thematically similar, very wildly different in tone. I mean, for example, the protagonists are like very young children at the start and are child soldiers, and and obviously the villains win at the end as well. So there's that too, which doesn't usually happen in Gundam. I mean, usually there is a massive loss of life, but good or the protagonists usually prevail. Not the case in IBO though. I'm sure as you know.
Yeah, coming to the art.
Don't even get me started on don't. Yeah.
But I feel like that's like the realism that's important. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's kind of important to the themes of these series. Because if you never watched the Gundam, or if you've only heard it in passing, one of the main themes about Gundam is war is bad, war sucks, war is trash. That's kind of some of the main themes of most of them. It's a lot about the I mean, not only how bad war is, but kind of people's unhealthy obsession with war, and mainly more people in power. People in power's unhealthy obsession with war.
A lot of them go deeper than that. Like, for example, IBO, for me, obviously goes like, because a lot of it is about, and a lot of Takedan's fight is about obviously gaining, there's an undercurrent of Martian independence.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it is about anti-colonialism as well for me.
Mm-hmm.
I found that it could be a very anti-colonialist story. Personally, for me.
No. You're right. You're 100% right, and that's like where it kind of parallels with. And we'll start transitioning. Parallels into like the beginning of the Gundam franchise that we're talking about timeline wise, right? Where if you watch, Gundam Origin or you read the manga first, stuff like that, and we talk about why exactly Zeon and the Earth Federation went to war was because Zeon wanted to. The person in charge at the time, who was what's his name? What was his name? Oh my gosh, Char's dad, not Char. Cassvale's
dad.
Cassvale's dad.
Zabby, innit?
Zabby, yeah, Zabby. Yeah, was that? Yeah, no, Zabby's the villain.
Zabby's not. No, Zabby is the.
He's the family. That's the villain family.
He is the actual leader of the Principality of
the Principality of
Zeon. Zeon Daikon is
Daikon. The Daikon.
Yeah, Daikon.
Yes.
Charles Father, who found obviously the new type principle upon which the Principality of Zeon based their claim for independence on. Zeon Daikon, I think it's Zeon Daikon anyway. Yeah, because it takes.
Yeah.
He died under mysterious circumstances.
He was, first of all, we all know that man was assassinated by the Zabby. Zabby's assassinated Daikon. Let's not act like it's not, like we don't know that. It was the fucking Zabby.
And then they took his anti-colonialist
they took that, and instead of doing what
independence and turned it into a militaristic
campaign. Yeah, because that's not what he wanted. See, like it's like co-opting campaigns. Like there's a lot of stuff that when I watched, I'll say specifically Gundam Origin, there's a lot of stuff, and I mean most of Gundam does, but I have my own reservations about that series. But Gundam Origin does a really good job of paralleling purposely, and I guess not purposely, with what goes on today. Like a lot of co-opting, a lot of basically they killed Daikon, co-opted what he wanted, and then changed it to fit their own means to make a militaristic, a fascist type of leadership, and then we also had which can again be moved on to today. Propaganda, all that kind of stuff like that. Like it does a really good job, Gundam Origin, which I believe is and isn't the best way to start out the Gundam Universal Century series. I would say is and isn't. I'll say this, Gundam Origin kind of spoiled me. I'm sorry. I feel like Gundam Origin to me, the series. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, first of all, let's talk about the context of Gundam Origin, Gundam the Origin as an adaptation, because obviously, I'm sure as you know, the actual adaptation, the OVA series, only adapts volumes 5 to 7 of the Gundam the Origin manga, whereas obviously there is it 13 volumes?
I think you told me that last time, yeah. But you can tell that because they really the last episode they kind of speed up the end to try and get to the beginning of Mobile Suit Gundam. So you can kind of tell that, yeah.
So yeah, only really, and obviously the Gundam the Origin anime OVAs obviously is very much set up as an origin story for Shah Aznavour, the Red Comment, to give him some character development and build up where the man behind the white mask and helmet came from, to be perfectly honest. So yeah.
And I have to say, Sunrise, I'm going to say this, I was thinking about this. The man who directed that, the people who wrote that, they need their dick sucked. I'm just saying they need it because they did a good job. They did an amazing job. They deserve pleasure. They did an amazing job. You don't think so? I love Gundam Origin, bro.
I wouldn't put it that way, but it was a very impressive work of.
Why they pussy whoever's working on it.
Within the anime fandom. Within the anime medium. So yeah. Pardon?
I said, well, pussy whatever.
That's more my speech.
Whatever. I mean, hey, I'm just saying, whatever they prefer. You know what I mean? That's what they deserve. That's what they deserve. Because I'm
straight.
I got.
People want to get down.
Hey, whatever you want to get done to yourself. But they deserve pleasure. Honestly, for me, while watching Gundam Origin, I've realized that a lot of people put too much focus on the mechs, right? And whether you like the mechs or not, whatever. I'm not really worried about that. The story behind Gundam Origin is fucking fascinating. Seeing Casvale's turn from Casvale to Char is phenomenal. Like and just the story elements, how watching him kind of turn evil. Somebody I have questions on his motivations, but on him turning evil, quote unquote evil, quote unquote evil, and just the way the story, the pacing, when I say that every episode of Gundam Origin feels like a movie, I really feel that way. Like between the quality of animation, Sunrise did what they had to do. Between how the story flowed from episode to episode, it felt like I felt like I watched 6 movies, which is basically what I did. But I felt like I watched 6 movies. Like they're so complete in each iteration and getting through what the breadth of the story, to where like you get really involved in it before they even bring out the mechs. You sitting here like, yo, this man Casvale, that's a bad man. That's a bad man. Okay, there's a few scenes. This is come on. There's that scene where the dude finds out who he is. The dude finds out who he is when they're storming the base, and Casvale's like, "Oh, you're on a dedicated channel, okay." Dude gets in the tank and he's yelling Casvale's name. He's like, "Casvale, why would you do this to me? Casvale, tell me not to shoot. Tell him not to shoot." And next thing you know, they killed. The other people kill him, and Casvale's like, "My name is Char. I'm not Casvale." And I was like, "This man is cold." First, not even that. That's one. That's only one moment of coldness that this man shows. But then within basically about 3.5 episodes of the last 3.5 episodes, that man is cold. He's cold-blooded. That man is different. That's a top 5. That man is different.
He did kind of have like Zeon soldiers near the beginning run up in his house and like try and kill him and his family. So what do you expect?
That's true.
He's gonna get to clapping. Niggas must die. They must be defeated. He must have his revenge.
Oh my God. That moment, and then the moment where so if you've never seen the series, Casvale and Char are not the same person. They're just 2 kids who look alike.
He basically steals his identity.
He does steal his identity. First of all, I knew. See, when that happened, when he was before that, when it was in Texas, which is one of the colonies, when they was in Texas, and he beat the dude out the window. He walked away mad as hell. I was like, okay, this man's changing. He's changing. Like that was the shift. Because before that, he was still kind of happy. This was the shift. When they get to leave, and he noticed that he's being followed, it doesn't say anything. I'm like, why is he not saying anything? Why is he not doing that? And then they switch clothes, and I'm like, no, don't do this, Casvale. Casvale, don't do this. No, you're not like this, Casvale. No, don't do this. And then next thing you know, Casvale sets Char up. Char dies on the plane, and then Casvale takes his identity and goes to
the academy.
Takes his place at the Zeon Academy.
Yep.
Oh, and I'm just like, that's cold-blooded. And this man was smiling. He was like, yeah, I'm Char now. Start smiling. I'm like, yo, Casvale, that's not. I'm sorry, man. Gundam Origin had me standing up, had me doing things that I don't do for a lot of series. Origin, that's a damn masterpiece to me. I can't. Besides how it continues into Mobile Suit Gundam, which there are differences, but those 6 episodes, it tells a story that is unlike that you really even see in anime. Like, it's so compelling. Gundam Origins, that's a damn masterpiece to me. I can't.
Yeah,
it's a damn masterpiece.
You should definitely try and read the manga if you can in its entirety. I think it's available in English. I think all of it's available in English.
It should be. Gundam is that popular.
Because the manga in its entirety is actually a retelling of the original Mobile Suit Gundam, so it does actually go into the 1-year war and so on and so forth.
Oh,
yeah, Yoshikazu Yasuhiko went big on that, directing that, and Kazuyuki Sumasawa obviously was the writer of Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin. I'm not sure if he's worked on any other Gundam projects. I'll have to have a look at that, but he should definitely he should definitely be working on more Gundam projects. If he can pull that out of the bag, to be perfectly honest. I wouldn't say Gundam The Origin's a masterpiece for me, but I would definitely say it's up there as one of the best Gundam works of the 2010s, for sure. I still don't think it's better than Unicorn, though. But
I haven't got the Unicorn yet. I haven't got there yet.
We're not covering Unicorn right now.
Yeah.
We're not covering Unicorn right now.
So just to talk about. So I started watching it from the Universal Century. So I started with Gundam Origin, and we're only talking about 3 today because there's way too many Gundams to fit into one episode. Way too many. Talking about Gundam the Origin, the original Mobile Suit Gundam, the series, and I believe you said you watched the movie. So you watched
movies 3.
Okay, 3 movies.
But it was
I gotta
a
watch
while ago, and I haven't been able to like rewatch.
Rewatch
I rewatched the first one. Rewatched the first one at like double speed, but I'm rewatch it.
You was doing
a little bit patchy.
You was doing the Italiano. You was watching anime in double speed. Oh gosh. And then we're gonna talk.
Shout out to Italiano, by the way.
King Italiano. Mic check. Waifu. And then we're gonna talk about MS 08th Squad or 8th Squad. I said team. Yeah. I'm sorry, 8th MS team. Yeah, 8th MS team. I always say 08. I don't know why. Like I don't know why I do that, but it's 8th MS team. And so basically, if you start from Universal Century, that is the best way to. I believe that's the best way to start it. Unless you would say start with Mobile Suit Gundam first and then go to Origin, or just not watch Origin.
Okay, so let me. So
if we're watching from Universal Century. If we're watching from Universal Century. Yeah.
Oh, for watching from Universal Century. So since you mentioned Universal Century, let's just cover the different timelines very briefly. Let's do it primer. So the Universal Century is the main timeline or the main continuity of Mobile Suit Gundam. That was obviously first established in the 1979 series Mobile Suit Gundam, and continues in its sequel Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, Mobile Suit Double Zeta, and obviously Mobile Suit Gundam Victory, and so on and so forth, and various series after that. Then you've got the first alternate timeline chronologically is the Future Century, which was introduced in obviously Mobile Fighter G Gundam, which was first released in 1994, I believe. Yes. And then so obviously within that within the Future Century, Earth is split up into different countries, different territories. It's kind of a wasteland, and the ruler of Earth is decided by the Gundam fight, which I'm sure you know about G Gundam, right? You haven't seen?
I've heard of G Gundam, but I just haven't watched it.
Okay, well, yeah, you need to watch it. It's like one super robot show. I'm gonna get super robot show within the Gundam franchise, and it's amazing. So watch it when you get a chance. And then the next, chronologically, not chronologically, but the chronologically is in the next word.
Release order,
release order.
Yeah,
release order. So the next timeline is the after colony timeline. That's right. After colony timeline.
The AC.
And that's AC. Gundam Wing. AC, yeah. Which I could do with right now. AC. Air conditioning. After colony timeline of obviously Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. Enough people here have seen Mobile Suit Gundam Wing for me not to have to go into that, and I'm not particularly a big fan of Gundam Wing. I think it's some big.
When I get to it, we're gonna talk to it, but I got time. We got probably like another 6 months so I get to fucking Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, man.
Fuck Gundam Wing. I don't want to curse, but fuck Gundam Wing. And then next, we have the after war timeline of Mobile Suit Gundam X. Gundam X wasn't actually released in the West. It hasn't aired in the West, and it was originally supposed to obviously have the 50 episode run, but it was cut short due to poor ratings. Mobile Suit Gundam, After War Gundam X takes place in obviously a setting after a cataclysmic war. It's kind of post-apocalyptic, where various factions roam the Earth, looking for resources and so on and so forth. And interesting fact, After War Gundam X is the only other confirmed Gundam timeline or continuity that contains new types in it.
Which makes sense because I don't really like new types.
Gundam Seed kind of has new types, but they're not confirmed. So that's the After War, and then there is Turner Gundam, which came out in 1999, and that is the correct century, which is kind of like a timeline that is the far-flung future and tries to basically tie everything together.
Interesting.
And obviously, I'm not sure if you've seen the designs from Turner Gundam, but those were done by Sid Mead, R.I.P. Turner Gundam was again a Gundam work helmed by Yoshiyuki Tomino. It's really, 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 really good. Again, wasn't released in the West, but yeah, Turner Gundam's really, really good. And the main character, Lauren Seahak, is a character of color.
Interesting.
Although they kind of like hand wave it by them being an alien, but they are dark skinned. So,
Interesting. Interesting.
They're moon people from the moon race.
So now there's a race of people on the moon.
And then the actual Turn A Gundam machine itself is wildly powerful and has a nano machine attack that can basically wipe out anything. But again, different discussion for a different day. And then we come on to Gundam Seed, the wildly, wildly popular Gundam Seed from the early 2000s, which first aired in 2002, and the Cosmic Era. Gundam Seed itself is generally a retelling of the original Mobile Suit Gundam, kind of. Obviously, you've got this is the Gundam series I most recently watched. Obviously, you've got the war between the Earth Alliance or Federation and Zoft.
Zoft, aka Zeon.
Zoft, the plants. The Zoft represent the plants, which are the space colonies, and basically the new types of Gundam Seed are the coordinators, who are genetically modified individuals who have heightened abilities over regular human beings, who are known in the Gundam Seed parlance as naturals. Within Gundam Seed, basically there's this massive war, obviously, against Earth and the plants, who are fronted obviously by Zoft, which stands for Zodiac Alliance of Freedom Treaty, I believe, which is more English, but whatever. So the Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny cover that. Obviously, Gundam Seed is the first Zoft Earth War, and the second Seed Destiny is the second Earth Zoft War. I won't. That's just the general. It's just a general outline. Yes. And then after Seed and Seed Destiny, we have Mobile Suit Gundam 00, which is set in the Anno Domini timeline, which is our timeline. But it's set in 2307, I believe, in the far, far, far flung future. And that obviously covers a celestial being, which are a private paramilitary organization that wish to stop all war, especially war within the military. If you watch Mobile Suit Gundam 00, with everything that was going on at the time, it's very, very on the nose politically. Like, very, very on the nose. Some very, very on the nose. You haven't seen 00 yet, have you?
No, some of these I haven't even heard of yet. So Gundam itself is so sprawling. There's so much that you could watch. It's crazy.
00 is my favorite. 00 is my favorite Gundam series. Well, the first season is anyway. The second season is less than satisfactory. But the first season of 00 is my favorite Gundam series. So that takes place, obviously, as I said, in Anno Domini. And then after 00, we kind of have the Build series. So, which kind of takes place in our century, kind of, sort of. And obviously in the Build series, Gunpla are plastic models that you put into a arena, and those are animated by some weird applied phlebotomium science, and they fight each other. And it's super serious, and it's shonen battle anime, and it's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, you got Gundam Build Fighters, which first aired in 2013. Then you've got Gundam Build Fighters Tribe, which is a sequel to that, and then you got Build Divers, which came out in 2018, and Build Divers Re-Rise, which first aired in 2019. I just realized I missed out something. I missed out Mobile Suit Gundam Age, which takes place in the advanced generation. I haven't seen most of it yet. It wasn't very critically well received. And then we've also got Mobile Suit Gundam Reconquista G, which takes place in the Reguild century, which again is another one of those centuries which is far, far, far into the future. That was again helmed by Yoshiyuki Tomino. It's an incomprehensible mess. That aired in 2015. I think it was 2015 or was it 2000? when did I'm trying to remember when G Reco aired? When did G Reco air? I'm trying to remember.
You don't have to be exact. I mean, you kind of got around the whole thing with all the different centuries.
2014, and then obviously we come on to the big one, or one of the most recent popular alternate universes of Gundam, which is Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, which takes place in the post-disaster timeline, and has child soldiers and lots of death, and the villains winning. R.I.P. Nazi Turbin and the Arkham, man.
I mean, hey. I mean, end of the day, I mean, it's real life. I mean, usually real life rebellions usually don't win. They usually lose.
It is real life, but
revolutionaries.
Gillis Farid is a waste man. They never should have followed him. Olga Itsuka has a lot to answer for.
That's what I have to appreciate with.
You should have shot him Mikazuki should have shot him at like the end of season 1.
But that's what I can appreciate with the Mobile Suit Gundam series is that a lot of it, like I said before, it takes a lot of, not necessarily real life, but it does a really good job of making these political situations feel more real. It does a really good job of it's the idea that, one of the things I hate hearing people say is that media shouldn't have politics, ABCFG, I'm like, Mobile Suit Gundam from 79, and that's not even the first one. The Mobile Suit Gundam from 79 has been instilling politics that still far reach out to what we do today. And no, they didn't say to your face, oh yeah, this is political. No, but child soldiers that are getting PTSD, all of them were fucked up. Okay, by halfway through that series, they're all fucked up. Okay, and it's just it's there, it's in your face, and if you choose to ignore it, that's on you. But Gundam from its entire run has never hid from the atrocities that has happened because of war and all those types of things, the propaganda, all stuff like that, and it does not paint a lot of these imperialistic nations in a good light because you may think that you it actually doesn't paint most nations in your light. I gotta say, when you watch Gundam, the Earth Federation and Zeon are both wrong. They're both wrong. They both had multiple chances to end the war, end the bloodshed, end the fighting, but they instead continued. And that's the problem. They create these forever wars. And I'm saying although that is not true for today in some aspects, but we go back. We talk about go back to older wars, World War I and other wars, and they were purposely trying to prolong these wars. They had chances to end it, but they chose not to. But that's the response. But you can probably argue that 79 was a response to wars like that. You know what I mean? Then as we go farther into the Gundam series, the way war is depicted changes, but it's still war. So, yeah,
absolutely.
Gundam is amazing. Gundam is amazing. I'm a Gundam fan.
Yeah, I mean it's excellent. I mean Sunrise over the years have done an excellent job of transposing real world politics, and like pacifist tendencies and ideologies, and transposing them into the medium of anime and conveying those messages throughout Gundam. To be perfectly honest, I mean obviously it's a lot more complex than just war is bad.
Yeah, it goes really deep into it. There's a lot of stuff you can get out of Gundam.
That's a general undercurrent that runs throughout the entirety of the franchise, or runs throughout the franchise in its entirety. So yeah. Let's talk about Mobile Suit Gundam. Actually, one more thing I talk about Gundam Origin before we get into Mobile Suit Gundam. I gotta say, when they launched that colony into Earth and killed 1.5 billion people, I was like, those niggas is different. What is going? Who even thinks of that? Who even thinks to do that? To kill 1.5 billion people? And I got British as well.
I'm sitting there looking at it. I'm like, 1 point through a whole colony at the Earth. That goes a baseball. Like
I mean, to be fair, wiping Sydney off the map, wiping Australia off the map isn't exactly.
I mean, that's not the worst thing. I mean, you could pick other states out there, other countries.
I'm sorry, Australians.
I'm not sorry. Y'all live in hell. Y'all got spiders bigger than my hand. No, y'all live a different life.
You're a settler colonial. Also, you're a settler colonial state, and you've treated the Aborigines.
That is true. That is true. That is true. That is true.
Over the years, and brutalized them. So
y'all on thin ice. Y'all on thin ice. The colony comes down crashing from. I will point them in your direction. But anyway, but
yeah, like, before we destroy Australia, like just like basically evacuate all the indigenous people.
Yeah, the indigenous people. Yeah, the British can stand.
Yeah.
The British can stand.
I'm messing up.
But no, but when they even proposed it, I think this is what I like about Gundam Origin is they're very good dramatic parts. There's really good dramatic counterparts to what's going on, right? So. And there's 3 moments, I guess, that really stick in my head. There's that moment where I believe Caswell he chooses to not do it. So he steps away. He's like, I'm not helping with this. And then there's the part where Admiral Dozel, and I think this is one of the reasons why, again, I don't think that everything needs to be live action, right? Because the part where Admiral Dozel comes into his home with his wife, and his baby and everything like that. And he has this incessant rant about how he realizes that I am also taking fathers away from their daughters. Fathers that are trying to have the opportunity that I am having to be with my family. I'm taking that opportunity away from them. And he has this rant it's this monologue that is fantastic. That is just fantastic. And it pushes the ideology of not like the war is bad, but it's the idea that these people aren't thinking about that, or at least you don't know thinking about that. But what they do is they rationalize in their mind. He says they're weak, so they deserve to die. He had to rationalize it because even he hated the idea of what he was doing. And that dramatic part right there is amazing. And then the last one is just the ending part where we have what's her name singing in the club at the end of that, and that alone, her singing, the music was perfect, the atmosphere, the guy pouring the drink, it's all amazing. And even I have words for that because let's go to Mobile Suit Gundam. My first opinion of Mobile Suit Gundam, I don't really like it. If I had watched Mobile Suit Gundam first, I would have struggled. I would have struggled.
I mean, the original Mobile Suit Gundam, you have to give it props because it basically started off.
Which I do.
It ignited it ignited, pun intended. This is gonna piss off some UC fans. Mm-hmm. They know what I'm doing. It ignited the franchise. Initially, when it was airing, it actually didn't do very well. Because I'm sure, as you know, it's 43 episodes instead of like the usual 52. That anime at that time would have been, so it was actually cut short. But obviously, because the merchandise sales did so well, that basically, like the Gunpla and so on and so forth, models, all that, and the figures, that's basically
what saved it, I guess.
Saved the franchise, and basically set it up to be the juggernaut that it is today, the giant shooty robot juggernaut that it is today, and money spinner for Bandai.
Yeah, pretty much,
yeah.
But
go ahead.
Oh yeah, but just to say, I mean, this is, and the problem is probably going from Gundam Origin to Mobile Suit Gundam, and then hitting 8.
You watched Origin first. You watched Origin first.
I watched Origin first, so that's probably where I messed up.
That's 79 Gundam first.
You guys should have watched what?
You should have watched 79 Gundam first.
I'm realizing that now because Gundam Origin is so good. It's so good that when you go back and watch Mobile Suit Gundam, so this talks about the dramatic counterparts, right? Mobile Suit Gundam is void of that for most of its series. Most of its series, it is just robot shooty mess with little story. It's about, 20 minutes? Less than that, more like 16 minutes, 16 to 17 minutes, where we got about 5 minutes of like actual character development, building, and growth. And then we have about 9 to 10 minutes of shooty robots. And I'm not mad at shooty robots. If you really like, oh my gosh, shonen battle anime like that, then you might enjoy 79 Gundam. And I do to an extent. But
one second on that point. Okay, so if you do like shonen battle anime, please watch Gundam Build Fighters, the original Gundam Build Fighters. Please watch it. It is helmed by the person who is now responsible for My Hero Academia, and it is like the perfect shonen tournament battle anime. You will love it. I promise you will love it. Just watch it, please. Please watch Gundam Build Fighters. It's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube and in dub and sub, although I'd suggest you watch it subbed because the English dub is terrible. And it's also available on Crunchyroll as well. So please watch Gundam Build Fighters. Thank you. That's my PSA.
Listen to this, man.
Chilling done. But yeah,
but yeah, so if you like showing the anime, you probably enjoy it a little bit. But coming from Gundam Origin, where it took a lot of care in building up its characters, building up its world, Mobile Suit Gundam really kind of drops you in the middle of everything. It drops you in the middle of, like, in the beginning of the story of Shiro, but in the middle of a war, in the middle of a world that has a universe that's already been, not universe, but, you know.
Shiro is 8th MS team.
Oh, it's not Shiro, not Shiro. I'm talking about Amaro.
Right.
It starts with Amaro's story, where it kind of just drops you literally in the middle of a war, in the middle of an entire world of stories. Like, Char comes in, and if I had not watched Origin, I wouldn't have known he was that nigga. I wouldn't have known. Like, cause of course Char's a bad man in this series too. He's a dog, obviously, because he can't not be. I mean, Caswell's a dog because he can't not be a dog. This is in his genes. It's in his genetic code. He doesn't know how not to be that nigga. But it's not to that extent that that Origin does, and really showing us how cold-blooded not only he is, but the Zabi family, but the conflicting nature of Dozel, of the varied lives of people on both sides of the line. Like, we don't get that in Mobile Suit Gundam 79. Mobile Suit Gundam 79, we get the child soldiers, we get the never-ending war, we get the loss, we get a lot of those things, which they all have though, but it's not belaboring the point like you get when the other ones, which is, I think, when you talk about Universal Century, you talk about the ones that are very story-heavy Gundams. That's kind of what you want, though. You kind of want them to not be like, oh, war is bad, but when they want you to be like, these people lead complex lives that have been affected heavily by war is bad. Like, it's more than that. And so, watching Mobile Suit Gundam 79, I enjoyed it for what it is, and I definitely give it props for starting out one of the, basically, probably the biggest franchise.
The mecha franchise.
Without Gundam, we don't got Transformers. Like, it's everything. Like, it's without Gundam, I mean, you think so? I'm sorry, man. When I saw the design of Gundam, I was like, that reminds me of like a few different Transformers.
Well, to be fair, one of the famous mechanical designers in Gundam has worked on Transformers as well.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I can't remember. I know for a fact.
Because Transformers cartoon came out after 79. It had to come out in like what? Late 80s, early 90s, probably.
83, I think.
Yeah. So that's all. I just feel like you don't get Transformers without Gundam or Robotech. But
Did you just mention Robotech?
I think that one came out. Did that one come up before or after Gundam? I forget. But I wouldn't say as credit, but I have the idea of it.
You know, Robotech was originally adapted from a Japanese show called Macross, right?
Yeah.
So Shoji Kawamori, who created Macross and who was working with Studio Nue at the time, he's the mechanical designer I was thinking of. He has worked on Gundam. He worked on Stardust Memory. He designed some of the Gundam GP01, the Gundam GP series. So he is the mechanical designer responsible for designing the original Optimus Prime or Convoy from Diaclone. I believe that is a little mecha fact. I actually met Shoji Kawamori in person when he came to the UK.
Wow.
But again, that's a different. There's video on Twitter. I'll link it. But yeah, he's the dopest. Like, he's the dopest dude. Like, he's so chill, man. He's so chill. But yeah, so that's a little mecha tidbit. But back to original Gundam. My opinion. So I think the original Mobile Suit Gundam by Yoshiyuki Tomino is a show that's definitely of its time, and for me it serves a purpose. Do you understand what I say?
No, I get you. I get you. No. I get exactly what you mean.
The purpose of starting off the franchise as being a good starting point for the franchise. That's why it has to get props. Without being an exceptional work, to be perfectly honest. It's obviously very much like it does very much preach war is bad and so on and so forth. I feel like it is very much about the personal duel between Amaro and Shah. It's very much a story of them and their conflicting ideologies and so on and so forth. And it does drop you right in it. I mean, like right from the first.
From the first episode, you're like, wait, what's going on?
Right from the first episode.
Who are these people?
I mean, even watching Amaro's dad get smoked as well, like in was it the first episode?
It was the first episode. No, it was fun. It was funny because he gets smoked, but then he gets brought back up because I remember he's on the planet, he's on the capsule with them. When Amaro starts using it, I believe he gets shot into space because Amaro was using it, and he gets shot into space. And then Amaro talks about his dad about 2 more times, and then we don't hear a peep about him by anybody. Until we see him again on side 6, I believe. On side 6. We see him again on side 6. And I'm just like, this nigga created the Gundams. Without him, so you don't think that the Earth Federation would be like, where is Amaro's dad? Where is he? Like, he should have been
a more prominent character.
He should have been around. Like, I don't know. But what we're talking about right now is, I think, a big issue with Gundam, because it happens a few times where Charge disappears for about 30 episodes, and we don't know anything that happened to him. He just disappears.
Oh, not 30 episodes, but
you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, he just disappears, and then same thing with how the Zabi family is basically non-existent for a good, I would say, 7% of the anime, because they're the big bad. They're the ones behind everything. They're like, oh, Zabi family. Like, oh, the Zabi family. It's like a whisper. Like, people just whispering their names everywhere. The Zabi family. Like, but it does such a disservice because, again, when you watch Origin, they're so complex. The Zabi family is very complex.
The family dynamics within the Zabi family, like
it's so
that could be its own serial. So that could be its own.
That could be its own series. It's like they're so between Dozel, Admiral, the head one, Gillian. Is his name Gillian? I think it is something like that. Gearin. Between the sister, who again I think the sister killed the brother. Did the sister kill the brother? When it was in Origin, where there's in the procession, the parade procession. Oh, yeah. I swear she killed him. She was hype. I think he died. She was like, yeah. She was like, oh, he's dead. Sad. He's sad. Yeah. After he was talking all that shit, and she was like, oh, that's so sad. I swear she killed him. I swear that wasn't on purpose. I swear she killed him. But anyway, But yeah, the Zabi family stuff is complex when you get the Mobile Suit Gundam, and they are the big whispered big bad, and we get some moments that are just done better in Gundam Origin than they are in Mobile Suit Gundam. Just talking about like the beginning of like Universe Century and like continuing the story, and like we have the part where not Dozel, the Supreme Leader, whatever his name is, the leader of the grandfather, the dad of the Zabi family, where he talks about how, even though he does want militaristic rule, even though he does want, in some ways, a fascist state, he has a limit. He has a point where he's like, this is too much. And while Gearin doesn't. And we have the moment where, and this happens in Gundam and in Mobile Suit Gundam, the original, and in Origin, where he says, do you know Hitler? Do you know Stalin? Do you know those people? And Gearin's like, relics of the past, right? And in Mobile Suit Gundam Original, it's a throwaway line because we don't know Gearin. Like, you don't really know who that is. Like, we know he's the big bad. He's the necessary.
The name of the dad of the Zabi family is Degwin.
Degwin. Yeah, Degwin Zabi. Like, we know Gearin, the son of Degwin. We know that, he's the admiral. He's the one that's calling the shots. He's doing all these things or whatever. But, in Mobile Suit Gundam Original 79, we don't really know him. we don't really know him. We don't really know his motivations. We don't know why he's doing it. And it's never really explained. It's done in throwaway lines. It's never fully explained exactly in the Mobile Suit Gundam, the original one, what he wants to do. So that moment in Origin hits a lot harder because we see Degwin as a sympathetic character, as someone who, even though he is evil, even though, well, quote unquote evil, whatever, even though he is a perpetrator of the assassination of the Daikun and everything like that, he's like, I don't want a fascist state. I just believe that Daikun was too passive and we need to be aggressive. And now it's his thing. While Gihren is like, no, I want a forever war. I want to put these people under my thumb. And so, there's just certain moments that you talk about, from Mobile Suit Gundam to Gundam Origin where it's just done better because of that character development, because of that level. But again, Mobile Suit Gundam has some really good moments. What do you think? What do you think of Amaro as a main character? Amaro as a main character. That man, he's a smooth 6 out of 10 for me, maybe a 5. He has his moments, but he.
I think he's a cookie cutter protagonist. Mm-hmm. But then again, he was the first protagonist within the Gundam franchise. I like him as a character. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he is still a teenager and he is still growing. And I feel like, not necessarily. I feel like Gundam is a good character study of the effects that war can have on a teenager in terms of their psyche and so on and so forth. And I think that is portrayed pretty realistically for a work of that time, of that era. So I think that's done well. But I enjoy him as a protagonist. He's good without being like the work he comes from. He's good without being particularly exceptional.
That's true. That's fair. That's actually a really good way of saying it, because Amaro gets on my damn nerves. Okay, and it's not because he's not realistically a child. There's just certain things that he's written to act like or written to do that I'm just like, why? Like, and I'm not saying he has to be a badass all the time. No, when he ran away from the ship, that was fair. That was childish. I actually like that because, it's that idea of a child being afraid to get the one thing that's important to him taken away from him. But there's other moments where I believe that Amaro is just written to be too much over the top, too much childish when it doesn't make sense. It's certain moments where he does things where I'm just like, this doesn't make sense for him narratively, especially after he's gone through things. And also it's because a lot of the writing in the original 79 is inconsistent, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, but again, you kind of have to give it some leeway.
I'm still going to slander it. I'm going to give it leeway, but I'm still going to slander.
Listen, man, leave that slander for Black Clover, bro. An anime that actually deserves that slander, man.
Oh, okay. Last thing I got to say about Mobile Suit Gundam. I hate new types, bro. I hate new types. I think new types.
Why do you hate new types?
Because it's, and for all intents and purposes. So I'm gonna keep comparing it to Origin because I love Origin. I'm gonna keep comparing it to Origin. And plus, Origin is the easiest thing to compare it to when we talk about the beginning of Gundam and the narrative structures. When we get to the new type in Origin, when Caswell finds the Indian girl, when we get to, or whatever, she's Asian. So anyway, when we get to her, woman of color, it makes sense for the most part, right? She's hidden. She's being used for this. He sees value in who she could be, or what her power could be, so he takes it. Boom. I get it. I like it. Mobile Suit Gundam doesn't bring up new types to the last 5 episodes. And it doesn't. And it pisses me off because he's like, I can't justify. Hands up, don't shoot. And I don't like it because it brings in new types, and then it starts to explain away everything that was explained from the beginning, right? So we talk about Amaro. This man belabors this point. He talks about this so many times. I'm not that good. It's not me. It's the suit. The suit has advanced machine learning that allows me to get better in each battle. And this man says this. This man screams it from the top of his lungs for about 20 episodes. And then we never talk about it again. And then they talk about new types, and he's only good because he's a new type. I'm like, was it the suit, or is it because he has magical psychic powers? Why is this man so good? That's like, and again, I don't. If they had brought up, and again, this is why I think
it's both. It can be both. They're not mutually exclusive. His new type abilities allow him to pilot the suit better than somebody who isn't a new type.
Which is kind of which is kind of explained, but then it's also like they say that to kind of forego or forget the abilities that the Gundam has. I feel like they should have been what's the word? They should have been introduced near about the same time of each other. We have him talking about the machine learning and something like that, and then someone also being like, but Amaro seems a little too good. He seems a little... The machine is like, he seems a little too good. And there should have been some type of investigation to be like, we think Amaro's different. We think he's this and that. Because for the whole series, they don't really think he's necessarily different. They think that no one else knows how to pilot, so we have to use him. So he's just getting experience.
This is something that is expanded upon. Like all of these concepts they talk about are expanded upon in the sequels, such as Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta, and so on and so forth, and the various OVAs.
Which I will get to, so I'll probably have less of a problem with them. But right now, since I don't know anything else about them, I don't like them. But again, I think that's like my overall thoughts on Mobile Suit Gundam before we get into 8th MS team, which is phenomenal. My final thoughts on Mobile Suit Gundam 79 is that it was a necessary evil. I think.
Come on, man. That's slander. Come on, bro. Man said a necessary evil.
A necessary evil.
It ignited the entire franchise. Come on, bro.
It was necessary, but it's nowhere near. It's nowhere near the precipice of the Gundam franchise or any of its its successors. But
I mean, I agree.
But however, I do think there is a lot of good things about it. I would say watching Origin, I feel like the animation for Origin is timeless. I think Sunrise did a really good job of making it feel old and new at the same time.
Look at when the two different shows were made. Obviously, Origin was made in the 2010s.
Yeah, well, I
would have been animated. In
I have more for it. I'm not just doing senseless slander, Ash. I got some props for it. I actually, for the most part, like the animation of the 79 series. I think for its time, you know what I mean? I mean, of course, if you're an asshole, you're gonna be like, oh, they reused a lot of shots. Of course, it's fucking 1979. Stop being an ass. But I actually like the animation for 79. I think I have to watch the movies too. I would love a modernization of the series in which we get something that looks like Origin and like the newer ones. However, I would not want that in place of the 79s. I think the 79s are really good for their time, and they really show not only how far we've come, but then how good we were. Because the fights in the original series, there's a few of them that are really, really good. Like really good. Like I was stunned how good they were.
100%. I mean, even the fight from the first episode, the first couple of episodes, and Amaro's first duel with Char. Char. Was really, really impressive. Like really, really impressive. Just like the animation. The Sakuga, if you will.
It's a Sakuga.
I'm not an expert on that. Jamal from Getting the Mecha.
He's the expert. That is the expert.
Podcast is the smartest guy in anime podcasting.
Yes, and he doesn't want to take the praise.
With far more forensic detail than I ever could.
And he doesn't want to take the praise, but
check out his podcast, by the way. But yeah, the animation is really impressive. It's fluid. That's what I'm saying.
No, it is. I mean, I think for me, it's not even the mech animation, but also I think the mech animation is not only consistent, it's well done. Like of course you compare it to something from today, it's better, whatever. But for a product of its time, it did a really good job of not only making the mechas look formidable, but powerful. But you know what I mean, they seemed they were machines of war, and they felt like that when you watched Mobile Suit Gundam the original. They didn't feel like they were lesser because, or you didn't feel like you were watching, you know, something like that was just like, oh my gosh, this is so bad, I can't keep watching this. No, especially as the episodes go, it even gets better in some ways. Like especially when you get to the later episodes and they're fighting in space, and they do a really good job of showing really good space fights. So
but they were probably burning through the budget.
Oh yeah,
to be honest.
They was like, we might not get 50 episodes. We gotta do the best we got. We gotta do the best we can. Okay, guys. No sleep for 3 days, guys. Okay, no sleep.
It's been cut to 43. Let's go. Make it rain.
We're gonna use every single goddamn yen in this budget. Every single goddamn.
That reminds me. There's a Gundam Sakuga account on YouTube that posts obviously clips of like dope animated scenes from the Gundam anime, and I'm just at this point I'm just wondering if it's a burner account for Jamal, to be perfectly honest.
It could be. I mean, he never talks about mecha, so that's where he does it. You know what I mean? Like he's getting the mecha.
His mecha work.
I hope Jamal watches Jamal. I hope Jamal watches this one day, man.
How we roasting him like this?
He never talks about mecha, but his name is Getting the Mecha. Come on, Jamal. Gosh.
He has spoken about mecha on Getting a Mecha before.
Oh, I think I saw his one pod. Yeah, I saw his one pod. Where he said, should have invited you on, Jamal, too. You should have been with us, man. Next time I'm gonna make you use that mecha name, that mecha part of your name.
It's gonna be us roasting this nigga about how intelligent he is, isn't it?
He's gonna say something like, that's how smart people talk. I don't want to talk like that. Every time he says something, I'm like, he has a whole list of things to say. I'm just doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I could do the analysis that he does, but I'm just too lazy. I'm far too lazy to do it, and I work and I have a job. So that
man Jamal. One day he's gonna be writing major articles for anime stuff, and I'm just gonna be here.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jamal one day ends up writing for ANN, Anime News Network.
He should already be doing it.
I mean, he should be. I mean, dude's not even 20 yet, to be perfectly honest, and he's already like.
That man has episodes on the difference between different the frame sizes. Like
this guy has an episode on aspect ratios. To me, that is the finest. Like I've listened. Like he's got a couple of episodes. I think he did one on 4.3.
Yeah, 69, I think.
Yeah, so he got one on 69. To me, those are the finest pieces of anime podcasting I have ever heard in my life. No offense to you guys.
It's okay.
Put it down. Obviously Teliano and then Man at My Check Wifey put it down. Worst Generation put it down. Buildcasters puts it down. But yeah, those anime, like them deep cuts, like nobody, and I mean nobody else.
He did up against him. Oh, okay. So
nobody's doing that ish, man. That dude's a prodigy. That dude is literally a prodigy. Anyway, let's stop singing.
Let's move from the Jamal praise section to the 08th MS squad, which
8th MS team.
8th MS team. I'm gonna keep butchering their name. I already know it. Even though I really love this series. So if you didn't know, so a lot of these OVAs. Which is 8th MS team an OVA or is it a full series? What do you call it?
Yeah, it's an OVA.
It's an OVA. Yeah, so
original video animation.
Yeah. So there's about 4 or 5 OVAs that happen after the end of Mobile Suit Gundam that takes place during Mobile Suit Gundam, but is like in different parts of the world.
It's
like 4 of them.
Because MS Igloo as well, isn't it?
Yeah, MS Igloo. There's another MS one. I don't know what.
No. So yeah, there's Igloo. There's more. Igloo has more than one entry. Mm-hmm. Then there's Thunderbolt. Then there's War in the Pocket. Mm-hmm. 0080 War in the Pocket, which is some of the saddest anime out there. Like, don't watch that if you don't expect to cry or have a massive box of tissues next to you.
And then there's Char's Counterattack too.
No, Char's Counterattack doesn't take place in a one.
Oh, okay, that's a different one.
So, yeah. So there's as I said, there's Thunderbolt,
Igloo.
There's 0080 War in the Pocket. There's Igloo, and then there's 8th MS team. Those all take place during the chronologically happen at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time. Yeah, it's just different places.
79 Gundam.
Just in different places of the war. Because this one takes place when they are on their way to South America when they're about to.
It takes place in Southeast. Well, primarily, most of AFMS team takes place in Southeast Asia.
Yeah. This is when they are traveling to fight. Oh my gosh! When I was watching it, I knew it. But this is when they're traveling to the last mining base. That's what it is. This is when they're traveling to the last mining base, and the 8th MS team is like the forward team for it, or something like that.
So basically, the Earth Federation is it takes place in the jungles of Southeast Asia. Yeah. The Zeon are obviously fighting a guerrilla war there, and because they're trying to get a foothold. They have an experimental mobile armor, I believe it is, and their pilot is Aina Sahalin, something like that. You said it right. Sahalin. You got it right. Sahalin, and then obviously, which sounds like vaguely Russian. And then Shiro Amada, who is obviously an ensign with the Earth Forces. He is obviously sent to Earth to command the eponymous 8th MS team. He has a chance meeting with Aina in space somewhere. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, she was fighting, and he went out to help the Gundam. He's arrested. He gets arrested for. He's part of. I think he gets arrested for treason because he helps her. There's a lot of stuff that happens in that series. He has to take over the 8th MS team as he's the new commander of the 8th MS team, basically. Well, I think, but when we talk about 8th MS, a lot of the things that happen in there, even though it's a lot of robot fighting, but the difference between... He falls in love with her as well. So, yes, falls in love. But yeah, go on. But yeah, the reason why 8th MS team, in my opinion, is so good is because it has what Mobile Suit Gundam lacked. With the still amount of level of robot fighting. You watch 8th MS team after you watch the OG 79, and... it's like kind of refreshing. It's kind of refreshing because I'm gonna actually learn who these characters are. Like I'm gonna actually care about them. While in Gundam it's kind of 79 they play loose and fast a little bit. But what was you gonna say? No, I'm just saying I watched 8th MS team first. Before yes. Which I've seen all my Orphans. But what you could do honestly. It wouldn't honestly. I would say this. It doesn't really matter. You could watch Igloo. Actually, I haven't seen those yet, so I can't say that for sure. But I'm pretty sure any of those 3 or 4 OVAs that happen at the same time as Gundam, you don't have to. Thunderbolt, at least the first Thunderbolt movie as well, it doesn't really have a massive bearing on the main Gundam, so you can watch that first as well. Yeah, you might be a little confused. Have you seen Thunderbolt yet? Not yet, man. I'm gonna watch it, but not yet. Bro, the first Thunderbolt series or movie is so good. The second movie it's okay, but the first Thunderbolt movie is it's good. I can't wait to watch it. That Italian expressive hands, really really good. My pasta. Anyway, but no. I agree. But with what I like about 8th MS team is I really love one. I think Shiro is an amazing main character. I think he does a really good job. I would say their first mission, they do some dumb shit. They do some really dumb shit the first mission. But after that, they make up for it. But that first mission, when he got his Gundam taken by gorillas, I was like, you're in a giant robot. Why would you stop walking? I was like, further, then why would you open your hatch? They can't get in. Like you're in a giant robot, Shiro. No, that was funny to me. I'm not surprised this nigga ends up getting court-martialed in episode 9? Yes, 8 and 9. Yeah, that didn't surprise me either. This man does some dumb shit. He's too, but it set him up to be who he is as somebody who is too nice in a sense, but it's not too nice. He understands like the brutality, but this is basically what everything 8th MS team is about. The brutality, the colonialism, the taking of land of people who already live there, and how the war. This is the same thing. My Origin is good, and how the war had a greater effect on the people who weren't even involved in it. And that's what 8th MS team is like one that like it's so good because it shows you like damn, like yeah, them niggas is fighting in space and space battles and giant robots. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. But there's people on Earth. 1.5 billion people lost their life for no reason.
1.5 billion people lost their life for no reason because they missed. They missed. They didn't even hit the base. They missed. 1.5 billion people lost their life for no reason. Then the war got moved from space, from mainly space, to their planet. While Amaro and all them traveled across it, nothing like that. Cities devastated, crops devastated, food sustainability out the window, and people just trying to live their life, trying to survive. And ATMS team, like, it takes the scope away from what you just saw with Mobile Suit Gundam 79, and it takes the lens onto the what you would say, the little people who are really affected by it, and those guerrillas who are fighting back because they have no choice.
100%. Also, in addition to that, 8th MS team paints a much more realistic picture of war than 79 Gundam or any of the other. Well, maybe not War in the Pocket, but than 79 Gundam does. It's much more relatable. It takes place within the vicinity of Earth. You see real world tangible consequences for the war that is occurring. As you said, how it impacts those who are merely innocent bystanders who didn't ask for this war to have been started, or ask for this war, or who have no wish to partake within this war between Zeon and Earth Federation. So yeah.
But I think ATMS team has a lot of good parts. I think
ATMS team is incredible. Apart from the last episode was a bit weird, but
yeah, it was a closure episode, which I'm okay with. But at the same time,
the perspective from Shiro to characters looking for him is kind of like, I mean, I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to do something different.
And even with the kids, I don't think, are the kids important? Did they show up in any other series? Those kids?
Don't think so, no.
That's something, like, it felt kind of out of place to me. I mean, again, I love closure. I love seeing Shiro happy. Shiro and Sahaline, they were happy. They were old, and I don't know if that was real or a dream. I don't know, because that man more than likely definitely died. Like, it was like
that's real.
Okay.
Shiro Amado is, as far as I know, according to Gundam,
he's alive.
And as far as I know, he's still alive within the Gundam canon.
But it was just, I don't know, but I think it wasn't necessary to wrap up the story of 8th MS. I felt like it was definitely for the fans. Like, it was definitely for the fans, less for the story, because 8th MS, the episode before that was actually, honestly, all I needed. Like, of course, I was like, oh yeah, we get another episode to see him happy. Like, I love to see happiness. I love to see end happiness. But at the end of the day, I mean, that wasn't what the story is about. The story wasn't necessarily fully about them being in love. It was about how war takes away the choices from people. And that's what it did. It took away their choices to be together, even though they wanted to be together. And my man was getting some buns in the snow. I respect her. Respect that man more than anything. My man got some buns in the middle of the Arctic tundra or wherever they was. Man heated up the water, made a little hot tub for him and Shawty. My man said, oh, you want to get in? You want to get in? I just want to stay warm with you, baby. What's good? It's cool. He was clapping cheeks in the Arctic. That man different.
I mean, and Ines Island, I think she's pregnant at the end in episode 12.
Yeah, I think she is too,
with a baby bump. So Shiro obviously been doing his job.
Yeah, but she'll been shooting straight. You know what I mean? The man's a shooter.
He's shooting a club up, man.
But no, I think 8th MS team, it's good for a lot of reasons. The character interactions and everything like that. But again, it shines a light on the enemies too, just enough. Like, it's not Gundam Origin, which is fine. It doesn't need to be. It's its own take.
You're using Origin as like your reference point for everything.
Right now it is, because I love Gundam Origin. Because I love
it's going to be the standard by which you judge everything by. And
unless I watch something that's better, that's my standard right now.
There's plenty of shit in Gundam that's bad in Origin.
We will find out. I'll be watching, so we will find out.
I was going to say go watch Universe, but you haven't watched Zeta yet. So
yes, so you again give me like 6 months. That's a lie. Give me 9 months, because I'm going to be watching other things. Give me about 9 months, because I want to do another Where Do I Start, and maybe like I want to do one on Monogatari. But anyway, this is because my stand is Origin right now. But it's in the sense that, like, the character interactions and everything that That like one of the parts I really love is when they're fighting the enemy that he saved, and the guy's like, "I'm not as soft as you," and Shiro's like, "It's not about being soft. Like your life matters. Like your life matters too. It's not about being soft. Like, but I think those 3 episodes before the end of the series is like some of the most important in the series because it's. You said what? You would think so too? Yeah, I think the most important in the series because we see Shiro's 4 episodes. We see Shiro's turn. We see the how the Earth Federation and his government, the people who are supposed to be looking out for him, reflect on him and look at him. And then we also see a moment like that to where Shiro's like, "Yo, it's not about being soft. I could kill you. I could have been killed you. First of all, Shiro's a bad man too. Shiro could have killed all y'all. They all could have.
He could have clapped him easily.
He a bad man, but he's like, your life matters. Like there are bigger things in this world than this war, and I think that's one of the parts I was like, I really love Shiro, and I really like the 8th Domestic because they even though they were ordered by the government to kill him if anything happened, they had his back because at that moment they realized the same thing, that there's more to life than this war, and
100%.
I just.
FMS team is there's a reason why FMS team is a fan favorite anyway. Amongst Universal Century fans. Personally, my favorite Universal Century Gundam series so far. That could be subject to change if I see something better. But the protagonist, the mecha designs. I mean, obviously the ground Gundam, which is again a fan favorite Gundam, is from FMS team. You know I built a Gunpla with it.
Yeah.
Small little SD one. I'm not gonna get it now because I'm tired and I'm gonna want to sleep soon. But FMS team is really, really good. The character interactions, the actual storyline, the narrative is well developed. The characters are intriguing. The protagonist is exceptional. And all in all, FMS team is an exemplary series. I mean, technically, I would say you could start an FMS team technically because it has no narrative bearing on the original Mobile Suit Gundam. I mean, there were callbacks to it and there were references to it. But yeah.
All right, we got a comment from Dark Images. He said, or she said, they said, I usually start people off with Gundam Seed, then they branch off wherever.
Seed is again a very, very, very good place to start people with Mobile Suit Gundam. I recently watched Seed, fully in its entirety this year. About a month or so ago, I think I finished it, and it is exceptional. Again, as I said, it's mostly a retelling of the original Mobile Suit Gundam, with Kira Yamato obviously being the Cosmic Era's version of Amaro Ray. So yeah, definitely.
Would you as an MC, would you pick him or Amaro? Amaro, why Amaro?
I mean, I like Kira Yamato, but again, he suffers from a lot of, well, not suffers, but he is aided by a lot of plot armor.
I will say that's one thing. Amaro, for the most part, because they set him up, because of how they set Amaro up in the beginning, he doesn't have a lot of plot armor because his whole thing is growing from his mistakes, and as he grows, he becomes stronger, and he also loses a lot.
Whereas Kira Yamato does have a lot of plot armor, and he's quite an empath. He's quite empathic as a character. He does fuck his friend's girlfriend.
Actually, talk about girlfriends. Amaro used to get on my nerves. Okay, Amaro had a shorty, and he. Amaro get on my nerves. This man had a shorty. Amaro had a shorty, and he always left her in the dust. He always they'd be like, "Oh, that's your girlfriend?" He'd be like, "Yeah, whatever." But then when it was time to be a boyfriend, this man was like, "You die, shorty. That's not on. That's not on me. If you die, shorty."
God, giant robots. Your woman. That's the order. That's the order. No, I'm messing.
And then when that one shawty came, and she was the one that helped repair stuff, and this man Amaro fell in love with her, and within first glance, and he left his shawty in the dust, and I was just like, Amaro,
Dude is trash.
Bull was crying. Bull was crying over a shorty he would never have. He would never have. He was being a simp.
Dude is the definition of Gundam pilots, ain't ish.
He was being a simp. I'm like, yo, bruh. She had a fiance. She don't want you. Like, I get having a crush, bro. I get that. She like 20 years older than you, bruh. She don't want you. She don't want you. You have a girl ready to surf on her. You know, maybe she was too easy. Maybe that's why. Maybe she was too easy for Amaro. I don't know. Maybe I was like, oh, she's too easy.
Who knows?
I don't know, man.
Maybe he's like, she's a thought, man. I need to ditch her, man.
She didn't even do nothing. She was taking care of the kids. She was doing all that. I'm just like, Amaro, you got a shorty. That you treat her like shit. He treated her like shit. She'd be like, Amaro, good morning. He'd be like, shut out here, bitch. Get the fuck out of here, bitch.
You know that viral clip?
Which one?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
What do you...
Yeah. He was so bad to her. She was straight be asking a question. She'd be like, oh, Amaro, how you feeling? I'm like, oh, bitch, shut your bitch ass up. Who you talking to like that? Why are you talking to me? Then he would just walk by and just like, Amaro. What is up, Amaro? What is up with this? She's just trying to look out for you. He treated Caswell's sister better than her. He treated everybody. He treated better than her for no.
No, but like,
she was a ride or die though. No. She was a ride or die though. You can't lie.
Yamato is a bad dude, man. Like he's like, you know that video series that was like, I'm Tyrone and I'm here to F somebody's wife, long dick style. That was Kiriyama to Sayaga's chick still.
Oh my gosh, man.
I'm Kiriyama and I'm here to F your chick, long dick style. That was literally Kira to Sayaga's chick. And then the worst thing is, when Sayaga's tried to come at him, because it was his dude in it, that was his man's. He twisted his arm behind his back and said, "Yeah, I did it, and what? Listen, man, you need to watch Seed is salacious."
Yo, that's ridiculous. I guess I'm gonna have to watch it. That is ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
And then when she dies, he moves on to the next thing.
Oh,
he's clean.
Gundam pilots, bro.
Man, watch Gundam Seed.
Gundam pilots can't trust them. Can't trust a Gundam pilot. That's ridiculous.
Black men don't cheat. Gundam pilots.
But Gundam pilots do. Gundam pilots cheat, bro. Gundam pilots cheat. That's why we don't see a lot of black Gundam pilots. I'm seeing the connections. You don't see them.
Black men don't cheat.
The black men don't cheat, so we can't be Gundam pilots.
They can't be Gundam pilots. Crazy. Bro, crazy.
Wow. Wow.
You opened up your third eye, man. It's crazy.
Wow.
Right now,
that's wild. I didn't even think about that. I don't. You know what? I want representation. I want. If we got a black guy, I want him to build it. I want him to build the mech. I want him to be in it. Just to build.
Why build when you can destroy, brother? I know. It's like, why destroy when you can build, brother? Flips it. I'm really. It's like 11 p.m.
I know it's late. It's late to people. So let's go ahead.
I'm running on empty right now.
Let's go ahead and start wrapping it up.
Comments first.
Nah, that's the only one we had. That's the only one we had. You know, it's 2:00 over here. I think it's where I am on the East Coast. It's 4:00 right now. 4:00 where I am on the East Coast. It is 6 p.m. Pacific.
People are just getting out.
Yes, yeah. People are just so they'll watch the video on demand. Hopefully, you know what I mean. Last one got 300 views. Just drop a comment or something. And then I'm gonna post this on the pod. Probably Saturday, but so.
Do you edit the video first before you post it up, or?
Nah, we're live streaming, so I don't edit it. I could, but
okay, cool.
I don't see it.
So, what do you want to do now? Plug socials or what?
Yeah. We plugging. Your Twitter @ is already on here, so you see it says your Twitter @ I hope people can read that Ashbeard guy.
Yeah.
But you plug yourself real quick.
So unfortunately, I'm not wearing the hoodie right now. I'm just gonna grab it real quick though.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just reach over and get that. But I also run Black Anime Podcasts, which is a directory for anime podcasts by Black creators. This is the hoodie, real quick. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram @ Black Anime Pods. I haven't updated the site in a while, but I will be updating it very, very soon.
I haven't updated our. Actually, I did update our site. I need to update I need to update the front page.
Though, man.
I need to update the front page.
I moved everything. I mean, your website made me realize I had to step my game up, and I moved over to WordPress.
Oh my gosh, I need to do better. But go ahead, talk about Blxxk too. Talk about Blxxkers. Even though you haven't done an episode in a while, but talk about Blxxkers.
I got an episode this week, bro.
Oh yeah, you did the review. We did the review, right? Or was that last week?
No. We did.
You were Sentai, yeah.
All the we covered the recent Gundam Seed project news.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot about that
news. Recorded and like basically didn't do any editing to.
Mm-hmm.
Although I beeped out the N word. But yeah. So yeah, Buildcasters, a Gundam podcast, is my podcast, and we are on socials. So Twitter and Instagram at Buildcasters, BUILD Casters, CASTERS, all one word. Follow us on that. I'm obviously at Ash Bird Guy, and obviously Black Manga is an upcoming project that I've got that will be a platform for manga and webtoons by Black creators, and it's also the home of my other projects, so Buildcasters and Black Anime Pods. It kind of ties them all together, and that's on socials. That's at BLKMNGA. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I will launch that website soon, but obviously life has gotten in the way. It was supposed to launch at the end of May, but I've just been busy doing other stuff. Oh, and I will be doing another Black Anime Podcast live event on Twitter Spaces very, very soon. The first one Beyond Battle Shonen, was so good. We got so many people there. Like, we had Nisha from Did You Have To podcast on there as well. At Nisha Plays on Twitter and Insta. NEYSHA, and then Plays. She's dope, and she was a panelist, and she's dope. So we did have Americans on there. And the next one, Magical Man, will be dealing with toxic masculinity in anime fandom spaces. So look out for a new date for that soon. So yeah, that's it.
So again, if you are a mecha head, you love mech, and you haven't found a place where you feel you belong, at the Buildcasters, they talk about it all the time. You know, Gunpla, they talk about Gunpla, they talk about, different mecha series, and then even if you just need somebody to talk about anime in general, this man, they definitely they are on the ball with all of it. So definitely follow that ad you see on the screen at Ash Beard Guy. I don't gotta shout myself out. I'm already here. You're on my page, and my links on my page too. But to finish, we're gonna have some last words just to finish out. We haven't had an episode in a while, so some last words. Ash, what's the last thing you want to say? What do you want to say to the people? What do you need to get off your chest? We support all slander on the Black Anime podcast. All slander.
Sorry for cursing. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to curse. But giant shooty robots are really, really, really freaking cool. That's what I want to say. Yeah. And watch Megas XLR. That's a random plug, but Megas XLR is one of the best shows in existence. And it features a giant shooty robot, so please watch Megas XLR. So yeah. Oh, and Gundam, of course. Watch plenty of Gundam. Watch Gundam Build Fighters. Gundam Build Fighters is very, very good. All of you people that are trapped by the spiritual bondage of Battle Shonen, you'll love Gundam Build Fighters.
The spiritual bondage.
Spiritual bondage.
My last words are two things I can say off the dome. On Webtoons, our friend of the Black Anime Pod, a friend of basically a lot of Black Anime Pods, but also just a dope ass dude. Two dope ass dudes, Pat and a Yende. Yin Designs on Twitter, and Gumbo Goon. If you follow him on Twitter, be very prepared, because you don't know what Gumbo Pat you're gonna get the time you do it. But anyway, they have dropped a new webtoon on Webtoons called Blade Titans, BLADE, and then Titans.
I'm all over. I've read the chapter. I read the first chapter already. Your podcast review the podcast review of the chapter is coming very, very soon. I've been very, very, very busy this week, and my birthday is on Sunday, so I'm sorry. I'm going to be intoxicated this week. So I will get the episode out very, very soon. I promise you. I'll try and get it done within the next couple of days. I promise you.
If you are a listener of the Black Anime Podcast, or you've this is our YouTube channel. If you've listened to our interview with them, which is on our YouTube channel, there's no video for it. It's just us talking. It's just us talking. You want to go listen to it. We talk a little bit about this series and what it means to Yin and even Pat, and how how big it is for them and how important it is for them. And so if you are into manga, you want some new manga to read, you're into webtoons, want just some new webtoons to read, it's basically part 1 of this chapter 1, and I think everybody should go out and check it out. Yin put his heart and soul into this, and you can tell the art is fantastic. The art is fantastic. I'm just like it. You are going to be amazed by it. The art is fantastic for the series. Yin is a dog. He that man. He all that in a bag of chips. So I think you'll really enjoy it. But yeah, the first half of chapter 1 is now on Webtoons. The second half will be dropped later. I need Yin to give me a sneak peek, man. Yin.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that sneak peek
Need
as
you
well,
to
because
sneak me a copy.
If he gave it to me so I could review it in its entirety, and then maybe like drop my episode when he releases the second half of chapter 1. So Yin,
We don't know. Yin is a perfectionist, so I have no clue when them extra 30 pages are coming, bro.
Send me those other 33 pages.
Some of the pages, yeah, some of the pages. But that also a boy that makes the manga Gray. He's releasing volume 1 soon, or he already released it. I can't remember. I just remember him talking about it. So that volume, if you want to get a paperback or physical, whatever you want, a volume 1 of Gray, I would definitely go check it out. If you don't know anything about Gray, you can find it on what is that app? What is that comics app? I can't remember the comics app. Huh? No. It's not a webtoon app. It's a comic app. I can't remember right now, and I'm mad I can't remember right now. But you can Google. You can't Google Gray because I want Gray manga. You know, it's kind of you can't really Google the title of his manga and for it to come up. You know, what I mean, I never thought about that. Chris Hornet Gray, Kris Hornet with 2 T's, Gray, and it should come up then. I never thought about that before, but yeah, go check that out too. Might be bought on Amazon. I'm not sure, but my last words are. Yeah, I mean, kind of piggybacking on what Ash said, giant shooting robots are fun, but also they're not the whole series, you know? They're not the whole series, and that's what makes it so good. So don't let other people influence you. If you're interested, go watch it, and you might be like me, you might love it. So that's it. That's what we got for today. Thank you for watching. Oh, go ahead.
Before we go, see all of those people that are trapped by the spiritual bondage of Battle Shonen. Mecha is not bad. I'm sick and tired of you little Gen Z youths saying that Mecha is bad. Mecha is not bad. You just haven't experienced the genre in its full entirety. Because there's a mecha anime for everyone. There are shoujo mecha. There's Magic Knight Rayearth, which is amazing. There's Battle Shonen mecha. As I said, there's not Angelic Layer. What's the name of the Clamp series that's got? But basically, there's a Battle Shonen mecha that has like tiny little dolls and things from Clamp. I think it's Angelic Layer. Obviously, there's Gundam Build Fighters as well. So yeah, there's literally mecha for everyone. It's literally mecha for everyone. Yeah, it is Angelic Layer. I was right. There is Angelic Layer. So yeah, there's literally mecha for everyone. So all of you who say that mecha is dead and I hate mecha, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Listen to the man. Listen to the man. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to us on the podcast, thank you for listening. Leave a comment, leave a like on whatever podcast platform or on our YouTube. Leave a like, share it, all that jazz. And we will be back. When? We will be back. We will be back. All right, peace out, y'all.
Yeah, it was Angelica.